Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, and lady in the back. Tonight we're going to try to go through enough information so that you can go home tonight and get started learning the Morse code. I'm going to present you with a lot of resources. This information is going to be available online through our website so that you can go back there, so you don't have to sit there and make a lot of notes, but make some notes if you feel like you want to go back and maybe ask some questions later on. So, learning the Morse code. Where do we start? Well, you start right here with what not to do. We're trying to learn some kind of symbols to represent a character. Don't get pulled into the trap of looking up a chart that has a lot of dots and dashes on it. Don't get pulled into the trap of looking for some kind of a visual association between the dits and the das and maybe a house. If you were to look at an A, you might think that might be the roof of a house, but we might call it an alpine. And so you would start to associate the dit and the da with the dit and the da on the roof of this house or whatever. Wipe that out of your mind. Morse code is an audio method of communications. That's the only way you should learn Morse code. Close your eyes, turn the lights out in the room, listen to the characters. That's all that you should be doing to try to get the information that's coming through with the dits and the das. Another thing that you want to do is, some of these programs I'm going to show you have an ability to type the responses into the program. If you can do that, you're going to be miles ahead as opposed to writing down, and then after you write it down, when your speed picks up faster than you can write, then you're going to say, oh my gosh, now I got to go back and do this by typing. Start off typing right away. The program, one that I really like for this particular exercise, is called lcwo.net. In there, it has a little box, and when it sends you the characters, you're typing right at the keyboard, and you're putting the character right up in this box, and when you're all finished, it will go through and it will evaluate the characters that you put in, show you the ones that you got right, the ones that you need work with, give you a percentage, and then you can say, well, you know, I'm doing really good here. I'm going to add another character or another two characters, whatever you want to do. That is what you want to try to do. Do not visualize these characters. Listen to the characters. Second thing, what do you want to do? Well, I'm not sure you want to do this, but this is the way. This is the best way to do it. Set your code character speed to 30 words a minute. Sounds crazy. Who can copy 30 words a minute? If you do it at 30 words a minute, you're going to be preparing yourself for higher speed communication. If you learn at 5 words a minute or at 10 words a minute, then when you once get up to that speed proficiently, you're going to want to advance. You're going to have to go back and learn how to translate these characters at a higher speed. If you learn at a higher speed, then you're going to be copying at 30 words a minute, very fast. What we do is put a space between each of the characters. So the character sounds out at 30 words a minute. Da-da-da-da. And there's a long space. You're listening to it. You're translating it in your mind. Okay, I know what that is. That's a C. Then it comes, da-da, very fast, at 30 words a minute. You say, man, what is that? Oh yeah, that's an A. And then you type in the A. And then pretty soon you're going through, and now you start closing the space down between the characters. So now the characters are not coming at 5 words a minute, they might be coming at 10 words a minute by just narrowing the space down. The character formation is going to be at 30 words a minute, and that's what you're trying to get your ear to hear, your mind to process, is at 30 words a minute. If it comes through too slow, then all of a sudden you start counting dits and das. You know how many dits are in an H. So you listen there and you say, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's an H. If you do that, you're slowing yourself down. Get it to where it comes in at 30 words a minute. You can't count the dits at 30 words a minute. It's just coming through too fast. But you can hear it, and your mind can process the number of dits or the different combinations of dits and daws, and your mind will process it at a much higher rate. And then you won't get in the trap of knowing how to copy or the trap of counting the dits and the daws. How many were in here and how many were there. So we try to stay away from that. What else do you need to do? The same way that you find your way to Carnegie Hall. Practice, practice, practice. So, can you practice too much? I'd say you probably can. I've never practiced too much. Okay, now, as we get started, what are some of the steps, now that we know what not to do and what to do? The first step that you should take, and I'm saying that because we're talking about the VWS code practice program and not necessarily applicable someplace outside. We want to install, I want you to install Teamspeak 3 on your computer. How do you do that? Go to our website. And on your website, go down to CW Forum, or go down to Meetings, then CW Forum, and then when you read the CW Forum narrative, it'll say, it'll say install Teamspeak. Click on that, and those will be all the instructions that you need. What is Teamspeak going to do for you? It's going to put you in this big community of the CW Forum so that you can listen to your friends working with CW. Do they have questions? Can you be sending things, information back and forth? It's like one big party line. So the more people that are on there, the more people that can discuss the problems they're having. I'm having problems sending a lot of dits together. Oh, I had that problem, but this is what I did. Oh, thank you very much, back and forth. Or we can be sending Morse code characters back and forth. And that is one of the really good things that will help, is to have somebody listen to while you send. I see Sheila back there. She and I, before we went to Teamspeak, we did it on the radio and on the telephone. So she would be on the radio and I'm on the radio, and we're sending our Morse code. She's sending to me. I'm on the phone with her evaluating, and I'm sending it back to her. And so now she's got all these fancy certificates that says she's a CW operator. So it does work. But instead of being on the phone where we're kind of a one-to-one, now we can be as many people as can get on there. We can all be talking together and all sharing our experiences. We can also share sending Morse code, because the CW Forum on Wednesday nights from 8 until 9 o'clock, we actually communicate using just Morse code. 8 o'clock comes along, we start Morse code. 9 o'clock comes along, we critique each other and slap each other on the back how well we did, and then we have gained that much more experience. So what I'm going to do is, not at 8 o'clock now, 30 minutes before 8 o'clock, we're going to have a CW Forum practice net, starting practice net, so that the people that do not have experience join us at 7:30 until 8 o'clock. So then you'll be part of it. We'll have this exchange of information, practice, just a communication. And then at 8 o'clock, if you want to hang on, you don't have to do anything. We will then move into our regular CWNet, and you can see what it's like to be sending. Well, actually, what we do is we write stories each time and build on the story. So go to the computer, Teamspeak 3, get it on. Mel's sitting back there. Mel will help you if you have a problem, and that information is in the instructions on how to get on how to get on Teamspeak. Okay, now that you have the computer ready, we can talk back and forth, we can exchange information, but now we've got to start sucking in information and start listening to the actual Morse code. This is where the practice comes in. 15 minutes a day is about all that you want to mess around with to start with. Do it. Do enough characters to wherever you feel comfortable after 15 minutes. Take a break and go off, wash windows, mow the lawn. If you feel like you want to do another 15, then do another 15. You'll see the links down there below, LCWO, aa9pw.com. I don't like that program as well as I do the LCWO, because LCWO you can change the parameters right from the screen, and while you're working you can change the parameters. The aa9pw, you have to go back sort of to the start and then change the parameters and then come through. The nice thing about aa9pw is you can copy the news headlines, and they change every day. So when you once get to where you feel comfortable copying the alphabet, then go to, aa9pw and copy the news headlines, and that makes it kind of interesting. W1AW, it comes from the ARRL, that's on HF, and they are on all the bands every night, Monday through Friday. They have CW practice. The only problem with the ARRL, or the W1AW, is at the slowest speed they go is 10 words a minute. So you need to be somewhat proficient before you can move into W1AW. And then G4FON.net is another program. I still lead toward the LCWO.net. You had a question, Craig, about it starting too fast. There is a place on there where you can click and it says standby or wait, or you have a choice there to put a number in there. And you can go up to 10. You go to 11, it gives you 0, no delay. That's what it is, word is delay. You can go delay up to 10, go to 11, 0 delay. Okay, now I'm going to talk about LCWO.net because that's my favorite. You start with lesson number 1, and it comes back and it will send you 2 characters. It'll start with a K and it'll start with an M. Pretty soon you learn that. Learn it at 30 words a minute. Listen to it at 30 words. It sounds impossible, but after 2 minutes, you can do it. And then you go to lesson number 3 after you once get 90% of them right. Go to lesson number 3 and it'll throw in a U. And so then you'll be learning K, M, and U. And then you work for that, and then you throw in another letter. I think the next one's an R. And you just keep practicing it. There's that little box down there. Type it in. If you can type it in, you're going to be miles ahead than if you just start writing it in. Because it'll evaluate it, tell you how well you're doing, and then you'll be learning how to be reflexive typing. As soon as you hear this particular Morse symbol, your finger will automatically jerk to that key, and you'll be adding that in there. It sounds hard, but it's not. Okay, what you want to learn in the LCWO, there's some little boxes that you can check, and it tells you that the letters that you want to learn. Check them all, to include the period, comma, the slash, question mark, and some pro signs that you see down there. Those are the pro signs. A pro sign means 2 letters that are sent as a single character. If we look at one here, just so that you're, let me just get this. Okay, the pro sign for, let's say, standby is AS, A, and an S. So it's dit, da, dit, dit. But you don't send it as an A, you send it as 1 character. And so we know what we're talking about, we have to give it some kind of an alphabetic character. That means standby. So if you're sending a message back and forth and you need a little moment to look up something, you need to catch your breath, take a sip of coffee, you would say, standby. And so that would be 1 character sent as AS is sent as 1 single character. And the same thing with the AR and the BT and the KN and the SK. We'll go over what those are, but when you have a chance to check them on the LCWO.net, check those because those are the ones that you're going to want to be including into your Morse code vocabulary. Well, that went the wrong way. Okay. Okay, step 3. Now that you are able to listen and you're copying the code, this is going to be the most, probably of the two processes, sending and receiving. Receiving is probably more difficult. You want to start practicing sending, because if the only thing you're doing is listening, you're not communicating. So you need to practice sending so that you can get the touch, the feel, and it also helps you hear the characters as you're sending them. You're going to need a straight key. This is what the straight key looks like. It's just this, like the regular old telegraph key. Just this, it's just a switch, a manual switch, and you close it. A semi-automatic key, a bug, which did not make it in the box tonight, but it's one that has a vibrating, the vibroplex, or it's called a bug because it has a little pendulum on there that oscillates back and forth. Or an electronic key, which is the one that I'm using here, I'm using this into an oscillator. So the electronic key sends dits and dahs. Press one side, it sends dits. Press the other side, it sends dahs. So the only thing you have to do is move your hand back and forth, and you're sending characters. Much easier than trying to do it with the telegraph key, because in the old days, the telegraphers used to get what they call a glass elbow, carpal tunnel syndrome, and they couldn't operate. It was just so painful they could not make the key move. So they designed this bug, which I don't have, but the bug works this way, left and right. And so you can see this is a much easier motion to make than it is this kind of a motion. So you need either a straight key, or you need a bug, or you need an electronic keyer. And that's so that you can practice and so that you can start to communicate both ways. Because it takes a technique to know how many dits this thing is sending before you take your hand off of it and have it stop. You need to have an oscillator. This is an oscillator right here. And what it does, it just makes a tone. Another way to make a tone is to have a transceiver of some sort. This will make, you can use the side tone from him. So when you send the Morse code characters, it generates its own side tone. And then we can listen to this, but you're not transmitting. So you make sure that the transmit switch is off, but you can send this, and it does make the tones out of this radio transmitter, or actually radio transceiver. So if we were to just take this and put it in here, no, wait. This is not set up. I got to change that, and I'm not going to take time to change it now. But that would work the same as this, except it just happens to be coming out of a transceiver. It doesn't, the clock doesn't work. So we're on our own here. We're kind of swimming here. It's upstream.
6 minutes to go.
How many?
6.
Okay, we might be a little long. Get some headphones. You're going to need headphones for the computer when you're working on Teamspeak. Put on the headphones so you don't get feedback from the computer microphone back through the speaker. So you have the headphones, and then that takes care of that. Practice sending. That's what we've got this for. Okay, join Morse code community. There are, since the FCC took away the Morse code requirement, there have been these Morse code legacies clubs jumping up all over the place. Because Morse code was seen as an impediment at one time, now it's seen it's something of the history of amateur radio, and people just really gravitate to it. NAQCC, North American QRP code, is that what it says? CW Club. These are all free except for FIST, F-I-S-T-S. That, I think, is $10 a year, unless you're over 80. And if you're over 80, you get it free. So anybody here over 80, you can join FIST for free, otherwise figure on $10 a year. The other clubs are free, especially the VWS, CW, and NET. Wednesday nights, 8 o'clock on Teamspeak 3. Flying Pigs is another one. These are very slow CW operator friendly. They will slow down to your speed. They want to help. So don't be afraid to get on there and answer them back because you think they're going to go too fast. Because if you send slow, they're going to adjust their sending speed to the same speed that you do. So those are some clubs that you can join. They're free except for FIST, and they are fun. They have, as a matter of fact, this weekend NAQCC is having a sprint. It's 2 hours of contest. Instead of a 24-hour contest or a 12-hour contest, it's 2 hours. So you get on there from 8:30 to 10:30. Other people with the same interests that you have and the same speed and so on get on there, and you have a good time for 2 hours. And you go to bed. Step 4. Step 5. Oh yeah, this is an important step. And this is really the key to learning Morse code. Only thing you got to do is sit down 15 minutes a day, and you're going to learn it. You would have a hard time not to learn it. Just like, so you need that equipment. You're going to need the key. You're going to need an oscillator, Teamspeak 3 on the computer, which is really there, and access to the 7:30 to 8 o'clock net that we're going to start, and it's going to start this Wednesday. So get on Teamspeak 3 over the weekend. If you want to make sure it works, get on the telephone. Give them, I won't be home this weekend. We got 2 events this weekend. On Mondays, anytime after Sunday, call, and I'll get on, and you can get on, and we can make sure that Teamspeak 3 is working for you. And if it's not, excuse me, we'll get it working. Or you gonna be home, Mel, this weekend? Oh, good. Mel is all excited about this. All right, if Mel doesn't answer the phone, I'll answer the phone, and if I don't answer, maybe Mel will. We'll get Sheila on it. She knows how to do it. So that's what we need to do, is to get Teamspeak 3 so that now we are communicating, we have this tool, we can talk to each other, and we can have a good informational exchange, practice. So when you're trying to send something, and you want to know whether it's coming through right, get on Teamspeak 3, whoever's on the other end can listen and say, yeah, that's good, or you got too many dits there, or you should space out your characters a little farther, or the words are too jammed close together. So Teamspeak 3 is really going to be the focal point what we need to get done. And then, of course, the intermediate steps on 1, 2, and 3. And you know what 73 means? 73 means best wishes, best regards. It's a Morse code shorthand. There is a whole list of them. That comes from the railroad. The railroad used 73 meaning best wishes. And there's a whole list of them. There's over 100, but not many over 100, maybe 103 or so. 73 is the one that we use a lot because we're a bunch of guys. However, now that we have some ladies in here, there's another one you want to learn, and that's 88. 88 means hugs and kisses. So hang on to that. And
that actually comes with a restraining order.
that's very possible, yes. So 73, and then you won't get in trouble. But you know, if you're risky, you can go to 88. Now, I've been doing all the jabbering tonight. Are there any questions? Have I covered it that well? I can't believe that.
Is that PowerPoint on the website?
No. This? No, that's Keynote. Thank you. Yeah, I was trying to think of what it was. But you don't have to worry about Keynote because we will put it in a PDF format so that when you go to it, you can just, it'll pop up no matter what you have.